Welcome to Reading the Southpaw and the Tri-City Valley Cats, and thank you for reading for the Ronald McDonald House. Today we are reading Up Wombat. The champs weren't. Last year they finished last in the North American Wildlife League. But this was a brand new season, and they were ready to go in their spiffy clean uniforms. On the morning of the opening game, they had been practicing their most athletic moves when suddenly, out of the blue, an outsider wandered onto the field. "Who are you, big fella?" they inquired. "I am a wombat," replied the stranger. "Wombat! Wombat!" The champs jumped up and down in delight. Wham! Bat! A big hitter! Just what their team needed. The wombat couldn't understand the source of their excitement, and these folks sure talked funny. Imagine calling a wombat a wombat. But when they asked him to join their team, he was as pleased as punch. He loved games, and back in his faraway home of Australia, he'd been quite a star at rugby. "So, mates," asked the wombat, "what's your game?" "Baseball," came the reply. "Oh, baseball," said the wombat. "Never heard of it." The champs realized that this promising newcomer would need a quick course in the sport. So they sat him down and gave him tips as fast as they could think of them. For starters, you'll need a bat. The bat boy takes care of the bats. The pitcher stands on a mound. A mound of what? The wombat blinked a few times, shook his befuddled head, and kept listening. "Never stand on home plate." "Of course not," thought the wombat. "Never stand on any plate, period. It's not sanitary." His teammates continued. "The catcher wears a mask for his own protection. Oh, and sometimes the hitter hits a foul." "Rough game, this baseball," thought the wombat. He was growing more confused by the minute, but since he was eager to play, he stood up and announced, "All right, mates, suit me up." Sure enough, in no time, he looked like a champ. His pleased teammates urged, "Now off for some practice in the batter's cage." Cage? Not long after, there arrived a busload of raccoons. This rival team bore the scary name, the Masked Bandits. "What is that?" they asked, looking at the huge wombat. "Oh, it's only a wombat," answered the champs. "Not fair," argued the bandits. "We want that big thing on our team." "Sorry," replied the champs as they counted the bandits. We need him to make our numbers even. No even numbers, no game." The masked bandits knew that the rules were rules, and they grumbled their way to the field. "Play ball," called the umpire, and the game was underway. The champs were at bat. "Batter up, wombat," whispered his teammates. "You're the next hitter." The wombat was alarmed. He really didn't care for hitting. They shoved a hunk of wood into his paws and wham! As he raised the hunk of wood to protect himself from a speeding ball, somehow it connected, and the ball sailed into the outfield. "Run!" yelled the champs. The wombat ran, following the signs to first, and skidded into second. Moments later he heard, steal third base." The wombat stole third base, but he didn't know quite where to hide it. He hadn't much time to ponder, though, for his teammates called to him again. Run home, all the way to Australia?" Now that was asking a lot. He needed to describe the length of such a journey to his mates, so instead of running, he walked over to the champ's bench to explain. The umpire declared, "The outsider's out because he's outside the lines. Shucks, he's even off the field." And that was only the top of the first inning. As the game progressed, things went from bad to worse, and the score grew in favor of the masked bandits. The champs desperately tried to coach their wombat. "Catch the fly." He caught 2 flies and a duck. "Get under the pop-up." Pop up? What an odd request. "Tag second." He tagged the second baseman. "You're it." By now, the masked bandits were giving high fives and celebrating the fact that the stranger was on the other team and not theirs. For his part, the wombat was frazzled. exhausted and very sad. He could hardly bear to look at the disappointed faces of his teammates. He felt so outside. It was though a big cloud was gathering over his head. Actually, it was. And over everybody else's head, the sky grew dark, and they saw it. Tornado! Shrieked the champs, the bandits, the umpire, and the fans. To the dugout! To the dugout! There was only one problem. There was no dugout. After all, this wasn't Major League Baseball. Dugout. Aha! Digging was the Wombat's specialty, for wombats were known to be capable of digging tunnels up to 655 feet long. Wasting no time, he began to dig a tunnel. Into the tunnel raced the champs, the bandits, and the umpire as the tornado sped closer. But there was no room for the fans. Enlarge the tunnel, everyone cried. Make room for the fans. Fans, wondered the Wombat. Capital idea. It's getting quite stuffy in here. Lying on his side in true Wombat form, he dug and dug and dug and dug and dug, enlarging the room further, and just in time, in rushed the fans. Huddled together, the crowd trembled as the tornado whizzed and whirled directly above them. Then, all was silent. They were safe inside. And the most important insider was the outsider. The Wombat may not have been a wham-bat, but he was truly a champ. And for the rest of the game, what do you think? The end.